When you wash your dishes, flush your toilet, or take a shower, where does the water you use end up? For most residents of Howard County, that water heads to the Little Patuxent Water Reclamation Plant, where the water is treated and made safe to send back into the environment.
If we don't treat the wastewater, all the pollutants and nutrients will enter our waterways. Little Patuxent River will have a lot of pollution, we'll have fish kills. We treat on average, depending on the season and the weather, between 18 million gallons to 24 million gallons a day. First part of the process is the preliminary treatment. It includes the headworks, bar screens, and the grit removal processes. With the bar screens, everything that comes down that doesn't dissolve in the wastewater is caught in the screens. It is dewatered and taken to the waste energy facility in Baltimore City. Stuff in the screens, anything from toys that end up down the drain, flushable wipes that don't dissolve in the wastewater, debris from construction sites that have manholes open, things of that nature. After the screenings, the wastewater flows into the grit basins.
What happens here is as the water enters the building, we slow the velocity down of the water to about 1 foot per second, and that allows any of the heavy material that's in the water to settle to the bottom, as far as coffee grounds, eggshells, sand, anything that won't decompose in wastewater. The way that it works is that as we slow the water down, the velocity allows all of that material to drop to the bottom, and it's in turn scooped into the center and pumped through an auger. In turn, that drops it into a hopper. I've seen carrots. Corn is synonymous with grit removal. I've seen dental floss picks, tampon applicators, a wide assortment of things that will not decompose. The water that leaves here goes to primary clarification, which is a sedimentation basin that allows the suspended solids to settle out. Right now we're on primary clarifier number 5. And what happens here, the water that you just seen that's leaving the grit facility comes to this actual clarifier. It comes up through the center. As it sets here for a set amount of time, it allows those settable solids, which are that dense, heavy organic matter, to settle out to the bottom of the floor. Kind of like when you make a glass of iced tea, if you let it sit, you can see the sugar that settles on the bottom. It creates that separation from those heavier, dense solids, and there's a pump that actually pulls from the floor of this clarifier, and that takes it and sends those solids that it's taken off the bottom floor over to the solids processing facility. What you see on the surface is a collection of grease that is ultimately flushed down the kitchen sinks or toilets or however it makes its way into the sewage system. Those things collect and bind together, and then you get these grease balls that form on the surface here that we essentially try to remove so it doesn't go out to the river. It's kind of very simple. There's not much here. There's no chemical addition, no air, it's just a settling tank. There's a rake arm that keeps it suspended that moves throughout, and it moves at a slow rate to where it allows those solids to settle and doesn't create much disturbance in the water. From here it goes to process reaction.
We are at the process reactors. Basically, we add certain things and the natural processes make them safer. We convert, just like a fish tank, ammonia to nitrite, nitrite to nitrate, and then in the next process, you'll see it go from nitrate to nitrogen gas and it's gone. This step is really, really cool. We say bugs, but there is a whole microscopic world out there. There includes things like amoebas, bacteria. We got it all, but we just generally call them bugs. But it's actually most of the microscopic world is in these tanks. They're removing all the bad chemicals that mess the bay up. It comes in, it mixes. There are mixers in the bottom to stir it up. Then you have the air, and it adds the oxygen to convert the ammonia to nitrite and nitrate. But pretty much all that's happening here is we're giving the bacteria a healthy place to live. It goes to your final clarifiers, which are behind us. And what happens is the solids, which you can see it's really dark, settle to the bottom, they're compacted, and then we re-pump them back here to use as fresh bugs because they're starving. They're hungry, they want to do the work for you. We are at the final clarifiers. If you look at the center ring, you'll notice that it is a brown color. And what happens is we slow it down, all the solids go to the bottom, but if you look in the tank, you got pretty clear water going over the weirs. Pretty much my philosophy for wastewater, and most of us here, is that every process you go through, it gets safer and less possibility of illness. So everything you see from start to finish, it does step down, and the chances of making someone sick or hurting the wildlife is dramatically less. From here, the water will go to denite for denitrification.
We are in the denitrification building on top of the denitrification deck. You have denite filters behind me. You have essentially what's a different sized media filter bed with thin, tiny material, coarser, and then tinier again at the bottom, where you're actually growing denitrifying bacteria, and you're running whatever you have from your process reactors comes into these filters. We feed a supplemental carbon source. Here we use methanol. There's a couple other options you can use. And the bacteria are going to do more denitrification and get the amount down to below 1 parts per million of nitrate. We are sending air and water back up through the media to remove any solids particles that got through the clarifiers. So from here, it'll go to our UV disinfection, where it will be exposed to UV rays.
Disinfection process works by mutating the pathogens so they can no longer reproduce, and then they just die off. From disinfection, it flows out to the Little Patuxent River, clean and safe to fish and swim and play in. The sludge that's removed is then sent to our solids handling facility. It is then dewatered, thickened to about 4% solids, and fed into our anaerobic digesters. We mix the thickened primary sludge and the thickened secondary sludge from the reactors in a tank. We slowly pump that into our anaerobic digesters, where the microorganisms in there will break it down, and they will produce what we call biogas. We then use that methane or biogas to keep the digesters warm, through the boilers, and we also use it to dry our sludge to make a Class A biosolids.
We have to keep these guys at a certain temperature. The temperature is everything when it comes to digesters, right? So we have to maintain the temperature roughly around 95 to 98 degrees. The digester works the same way as what's going on into your stomach. You break it down and extracting the nutrients and stuff out of the food. The same thing happens in the digester. We're breaking it down, releasing all of the fatty acids and everything inside of the sludge. And then from there, we goes into a centrifuge. Centrifuge extracts more water out of the system, and then from the centrifuge, it goes into a dryer.
The dryer is the final process in our solids handling facility, and dryer's in the name. We're taking product that is about 20 to 24% total solids, so the consistency of potting soil or dirt, and we're taking that solids and turning it into a drier product. As an operator, I'm looking for 92 to 95% consistency total solids. The cake that has its moisture evaporated now goes to a series of different drag conveyors to a discharge screw through drum mills, and is basically processed into finer material and then discharged into our silos. The dried product is now ready to be taken out by a delivery truck and deposited onto farmlands in the surrounding states and areas. In the dryer, something that we tend to find, we find hair, we find fabric even, find what we like to call inorganic material that shouldn't be there. The 3 Ps stand for pee, poop, and toilet paper. And really, that's the only things that should be going down your toilet. Your toilet is not a trash can. We find a staggering amount of trash, and honestly, by volume, the most things that we find are wipes. So-called flushable wipes, which it turns out are not flushable at all. When you flush down a wipe, a wet wipe, anything that isn't toilet paper, even something like paper towels is not really flushable. If you flush it, we'll probably find it. In addition to trash and wet wipes, another thing that we would not like to see thrown down your toilet or down your sink is medication. Make sure to dispose of them in a proper manner. There are a couple things that the average Howard County citizen can do to help make things easier at the Little Patuxent Water Reclamation Plant. The first thing is, as I've said, do not treat your toilet, your sink as a trash can. Something simple that you can do is take a look at your bathtubs and see if there are a hair catcher. That will save you a lot of a headache, and it will save us a lot of a headache too. And importantly, when you're in the kitchen, it's very important that you keep fats, oil, and grease or fog down the drain as well. So if you have grease, put it into a can, let it freeze, and then place it in the trash.
The Bureau of Utilities operates and maintains Howard County's public water and wastewater systems, serving more than 85% of the county's population. The Bureau collects and treats a daily average of 20 million gallons of wastewater. The Bureau also provides management of all water and sewer assets to ensure residents continue to receive a high level of service. For more information on the Little Patuxent Water Reclamation Plant or to schedule a tour, call us or visit our website.